We'll do it live! Fuck it!
I'm Liz.
This is Surly Amy from skepchick.org.
I'm Keith from Sydney, Australia.
Hello, I'm Daryl Ray, author of Sex and God and The God Virus.
This is Rebecca Watson of skepchick.org.
I'm Vivian Wheeler from Planned Parenthood. I am Devin Napoli from Planned Parenthood.
I am Richard Carrier.
I am Monette Richards from Secular Woman.
I am Stephen Olson from Carl Sagan's Dance Party.
I'm JT Everhard, and I'm a he-thinker who loves the she-thinkers.
I'm Debbie Goddard. I'm from the Center for Inquiry and African Americans for Humanism, and I'm a human thinker.
I'm a Faisal, and I'm a he-thinker, she-thinker, they-thinker, it-thinker.
Hello, everybody. This is David Fitzgerald, and oh yes, I am a she-thinker.
The best one.
Hello, and welcome to Secular She-Thinkers, where secular girls geek out and justifiably rage. I'm your host, Dory Mooneyham, joined by my co-host, the Dirty Nerdy.
You know, you always sound so happy when you say justifiably rage.
Yep.
I wonder if you're raging enough.
Probably not. You're the ragey one, right?
And the drunk one.
Yeah. Tonight we'll be discussing abortion rights with our special guest, Beth Presswood, host of Godless Bitches. Say hi, Beth.
Hi, Beth.
Always hilarious.
She's
with the jokes and stuff.
Yep. She's one of our favorite secular feminist podcasters ever. Not to be confused with the best secular feminist queer podcast that's broadcast out of a nerd cave in the neighborhood of Dallas.
Yeah. Don't ever confuse it with that one.
We're going to discuss why abortion rights are important for everyone, not just fertile cis women, and how body autonomy and medical privacy is being eroded away by aggressive anti-choice legislation. We also have The Boss and Troll, a stupid sexist song, and Do You Even Science, Bro? But first, a word from our sponsors.
Woo, sponsors!
She-Thinkers is sponsored by Audible.com. To check out their service and get a free audiobook of your choice, go to audibletrial.com/She-Thinkers. You can download books to your Apple and Android devices and just about anything else you might listen through. Again, go to audibletrial.com/She-Thinkers to download any free audiobook of your choice. That's SHETHINKERS, She-Thinkers!
I wonder if Beth got to see our jazz hands.
Yeah, you were doing jazz hands with us, right, Beth?
Sure. I do jazz hands like all the time.
Yeah. That's like my favorite thing to do.
Steppity step and jazz hands.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's time for the secret word.
Yay! Sorry, I'll let the kids do it next time.
Tonight's secret word is body autonomy.
What does
Every
that
time
mean?
we say body autonomy, you have to take a drink. Body autonomy is the right to make our own decisions about what happens to our body, with whom, in what way, and for how long. This is the right that prevents doctors from harvesting organs from your corpse unless you specifically grant them permission. It's the reason why you can't be forced to donate blood, even if it might save someone else's life. This is why we take medical decisions so seriously, and we can grant others the ability to carry out those wishes when we're not able to communicate what we desire to happen to our body. And it's why abortion is a fundamental human right, not a quote-unquote women's issue. Because if we decide that body autonomy can be taken away to, quote, save the life of a fetus, it can become legal for fertile men to be denied access to vasectomies, or a family member to sue you for access to one of your kidneys.
It's happened before.
Or to deny trans people the right to decide what medical transition steps to take. Body autonomy and abortion are inseparable, and if you legally prevent one, you inherently legally prevent the other. If you're genuinely concerned about fetuses being aborted and not the sexual and reproductive decisions of women, then maybe you should invest your time and resources into discovering a way to transplant fetuses into another host without being destroyed. Maybe into the bodies of conservative middle-aged white male politicians who feel the need to dictate what women can and can't do with their bodies. As my mother likes to say, the fetus doesn't have to die, but it can't stay here.
I would just like to say, that is the most work we've ever put into our secret word.
It's true. It's because we take body autonomy important, damn it.
You mean seriously?
No. I've had a little too much wine already,
You
I
take
think.
bodily autonomy important. Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right.
That's a quote or drop or
Grammatically
something.
makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about trolls. Dirty Nerdy, who's our troll this week?
Oh shit, what the something just happened.
What the something? No,
What the something just
that's supposed to happen. You clicked on the link.
Yeah, but it didn't go open a new page. I'm sorry, I won't talk about computer shit anymore.
Who's our troll? I'm eagerly
Somebody
anticipating.
who did something to someone. Basically, all 17 states that have turn away the gay bills in the works right now.
Boo.
Boo, you 17 states.
Oh wait, I've got a drop for this. Those are all the angry gays.
All of them.
All of them. So, yeah, we're even including Arizona in this because I don't give a shit if the governor felt pressured and then all of a sudden was like, oh, JK guys, I wasn't really going to sign this bill into law.
The only thing that I don't like about this map is it doesn't include states that implicitly have this law.
Yeah, like Texas.
Like Texas. But otherwise, it's a pretty good map.
Yeah.
It includes anything that was, even if it was passed and vetoed by the governor, currently in debate, pulled and being rewritten, introduced and voted down, introduced and awaiting debate, introduced and withdrawn, ballot initiative, and under consideration. It should include the implicit ones, though.
It should. What's stupid is there was some legislature in Texas that was going to propose this. I guess they figured out that it's already de facto on the books. Yeah. They were like, damn it, I can't politically grandstand anymore.
Oh, they could probably still do it, though.
Yeah, I'm sure they could.
I mean, if
redundant laws have never stopped Texas before.
I mean, if you can politically grandstand on extending the death penalty to child molesters, then you can politically grandstand on this, too.
Yeah.
Because that would never pass constitutional muster, so it's just grandstanding.
True facts.
Beth, do you have anything to say on the topic?
No.
All right. Well,
I said it all.
I'm sorry. Just tell us to shut up if we're talking too much.
Right. We're gonna let Willy Wonka take care of the trolls this week.
Not Willy Wonka. He's too scary and also too gay or something.
Yep.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Wrong, sir. Wrong. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
See, it works because they don't get our queer money. See, get it?
Who is it? The gay guy from Star Trek.
George Takei.
George Takei. That's how I remember everyone based on Star Trek.
And their sexual orientation. You know, a straight woman from Star Trek.
That queer guy who played with the guy who was on Star Trek. Anyways, he wrote an open letter to Arizona about how they would boycott. How he was like, all right, you discriminate against us, then the gays won't spend their money there.
That's Dirty Nerdy pouring me another glass of wine, by the way.
I didn't realize it was so close to the mic. Sorry.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, I'm gonna pour myself some more.
It's like action sounds or something. Here, Tori and Dirty Nerdy get drunk.
I'm getting drunk too.
We're nothing if not professional here on Shethinkers. It takes a lot of wine to get this show done.
It does. Don't worry, Beth. We're not excluding you. Beth is also drunk with us.
Yep.
Drunk and frunk.
All right.
We never made that a drop. We should have.
Drunk and frunk. All right. Who's our boss?
Disney.
What? Disney's a boss?
Which is weird.
I know.
It ended its support of the Boy Scouts.
Hell yeah. I know how much you loathe the Boy Scouts.
I do. I'm never prepared.
Yep.
Except for when I am prepared, and then I'm supporting the Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
And all their lesbian abortions.
Yep. Lesbian.
What?
I had cookies today.
Yay!
Cookies.
I've got cookies downstairs.
I bought Thin Mints the other day at Tom Thumb.
Yay. supporting their
Samoa
lesbian agenda.
Yes, damn it.
Dude, I went in, and Dory was at my apartment when I did. I went into Tom Thumb and looked over and saw the Girl Scouts were there, and I was there for cat litter, but I walked over and was like, you only take cash, right? And there's this little, 8-year-old. She was like, yeah, and I said, okay, let me buy this cat litter, and I'll get some cash, and I'm buying some Thin Mints. You got Thin Mints, right? And she said yes, and I was like, alright, cool.
She's like, does the Pope shit in the woods? Of course I've got Thin Mints.
Sometimes they're out. I don't know.
I know. They are the most popular cookie, I think.
It was delicious. I already finished them.
I think Samoas and Thin Mints are usually, tied for most popular Girl Scout cookie.
Samoas, don't they have, coconut in them or something?
Yeah.
Ew.
I think Beth is a Samoa supporter.
Beth.
Hell yes. This is unnatural, damn it.
We are mortal enemies now, Beth. I'm a Facebook this.
Yep. But yeah, Disney used to have a program where they would match money that Boy Scouts earned in order to go to Disney World. And Disney has canceled that program until the BSA gets their shit together and doesn't throw gay boys out of the Boy Scouts as soon as they turn 18, which is affectionately known as the 18 and out policy.
Such affection.
Yep.
Much wow.
Yep. I don't understand that thought process where it's like, oh, it's okay for you to be gay until you're an adult, and then we think you're a child molester and you need to get the fuck out.
Such much ignorance. I'm gonna speak in Doge for the rest of the show.
Okay. Sounds legit. Alright, let's talk about abortions now.
Okay. We weren't already?
We're already boycotting the Boy Scouts and encouraging gays to be able to spend their money.
Alright, so first and foremost, abortion rights have to do with bodily autonomy.
Take a drink!
Already ahead of you.
So yeah, we already talked about what body autonomy is.
Damn.
And why that shit's important for everyone, not just fertile women. So, yeah, what's weird is, Beth, you're always on lie action news. You know the kind of weird tactics that they use and how they don't understand body autonomy.
Correct.
Those are my favorite Facebook days.
Yep.
Well, I'm on lie action news, lie site news, all those. Lie in the name, because that's all they fucking do all day long.
It's true.
I can't even count the number of lies. Sometimes I just put up a post and I'm like, every single word in this is a lie. Because I cannot refute it.
See,
they wrote a post about admitting privileges the other day, and every single claim in it was a lie.
They tried to talk about privilege in one of the lie sites?
Admitting privileges, not privilege. They don't know shit about privilege.
I wouldn't really expect them to. It's funny you say every word is a lie. I'm like, see those prepositional phrases there? That's a lie.
That's a lie.
Their mouth? Yeah. No. Actually, Secular Anti-Choice had a post once about born privilege. Did you know that you have born privilege and fetuses do not have born privilege?
Ugh.
I had no idea. What does this entail?
I hate when people try to appropriate feminism.
Wait, does this mean that as a born person, I'm allowed to use someone else's body at my discretion and fetuses aren't? Is that what they're talking about? Because I'm not allowed to do that.
What do you mean? I can demand that you donate your blood to me, right?
Oh, damn, here's my blood.
Yeah, that's actually what I wrote when I talked about that is, in the anti-choice worldview, fetuses are the most privileged motherfuckers around.
They really are.
You know what? I'm not Jesus. You can't take my blood.
Not even your own kid can take a drop of your blood the day after it is born.
Yeah. Unless you consent to it.
They got rights.
I just don't understand it. I don't know. How do they not get this shit?
Is undergirded by the naturalistic fallacy.
Right.
Either religion or the naturalistic fallacy, which religion has a lot of naturalistic fallacy in it. It's basically, women are for having kids, therefore they have to. That's all it is.
It really is.
Well, shit, I'm infertile. I guess I better just, go off and die.
No, they want you to go off and be a man
I think
instead.
you're an abomination anyway, because that's an optimistic fallacy, so...
I'm gonna say, well, I'm infertile either way they want me to go, so...
I love when I bring up, how the majority of pregnancies end in miscarriage.
Even God is the biggest abortioner
and they're
of them
like,
all.
oh, well, there's nothing wrong with that, because it's natural. I'm like, wait, so you think embryos and fetuses are babies with full human rights, but you don't give a shit about miscarriages? This makes no sense.
Shouldn't you be having a funeral for the baby and all that shit?
Some people do.
Yeah, I know they do.
I'm not going to argue with someone's grieving process over a wanted pregnancy being ended.
Nope.
Like, suddenly. But still.
Especially a wanted pregnancy.
Yeah.
Emphasis on wanted.
Yeah. They don't really get consent anyway. So, they're usually really bad on rape culture and everything as well. So,
right.
Mostly people do wrap their heads around, at least certain kinds of rape is a horrible, horrible thing, whereas consensual sex can be like the awesomest thing ever. Most people can wrap their heads around that even if they don't think date rape is really rape, because they can imagine a really, really bad stranger rape. But for some reason, the fact that having kids can be the best thing that happens to some women, just automatically means that therefore all women want it and all women can accept it and it's just going to end up great. And whereas I think it's very similar to sex. An unwanted pregnancy is very, very much a violation and can be a horrific experience.
Yeah.
Exactly. I am absolutely terrified of being pregnant.
That's true.
The whole process, the giving birth part, I might just opt for a C-section. I don't care if it costs more. I might just be like, just cut it out of me. I want to do like Star Trek birth where they just transport it out of your uterus. Can we
I don't
do that?
understand why that, everyone doesn't do that in Star Trek.
I don't know. Maybe they have their own form of the, natural mothers where they think it's unnatural to transport the baby out. I don't know.
Well, there are things to do with the flora and, there are reasons that there is natural birth. It's not just, if you just C-section everything goes right, because surgery is still got its own risk.
I know surgery has its own risk, but that's not what my phobia is about. I'm fully aware that my fear is mostly irrational, mostly. But yeah, I'm only what?
Tocophobia.
What'd you say?
Tocophobia. That's the word for fear of labor.
Shit.
Hey,
well, I also have a weird squicky feeling about the whole pregnancy process, about having another thing living inside me. I don't know. I trace it back to the Alien movies, personally.
Right.
But, even given
My friend has dealt with that as well, and now she's 4 weeks, and she thinks it's great, so,
Yeah.
Well,
even given that,
you do have hormones to make you think it's great.
Yeah. I'm still, I've talked to the boy about this, and, we still plan on having at least one child, biologically. So, I've consented to that so far. We'll see how I feel after the first pregnancy.
Yeah.
But, I just couldn't imagine going through that process involuntarily, without my consent. That would make me even more terrified of it.
Yeah. And here's where it all boils down to, is because the anti-choicers see pregnancy as a consequence of the sin of sex. That's really what it all comes down to. And they think if you find a way around that consequence, then you're, playing God or whatever.
That's why birth control has come under fire the past few years. When I was in high school and I had been grown up on the whole anti-choice line, I read about how birth control used to be illegal, and that was completely mind-blowing to me. I couldn't understand why birth control would be illegal, but they would still be anti-abortion. It made no sense to me, and I was still anti-abortion at the time.
No, and that's the thing, is if they were genuinely anti-abortion, and not against taking away women's rights to make decisions about their body, then anti-choicers would be the one, like, adamantly proposing, comprehensive safe sex education.
Exactly.
They'd be the ones passing out birth control and condoms at schools, but they're not. They're the ones who are against that because they don't want you to be able to make choices.
Well, clearly, they don't care about fetuses, as much as they say.
Right.
That there is something they care more about. And, it's always, a little iffy to go after people's motivations, but you can clearly say that they cannot support birth control. So therefore there is something that they put ahead of saving babies. So,
yeah,
I cast some doubt on their claim that it's really about babies.
I think it might be wrapped up a little bit in naturalist fallacies and the just world fallacy a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that they still don't, like you said, casting doubt on motivations is always iffy. But when all you have to go on is actions, and their actions show that they don't really seem to care about actually reducing abortions, they just care about making it illegal, which would only punish women.
And wouldn't reduce the number of abortions. It would just cause back alley abortions.
It would reduce it. There were fewer abortions when it was back alley. There was just, women died and things happened, but it did reduce the number.
Unless you were rich and you could hire a doctor to do it on the down low.
The thing was, studies done more recently in the past 2 decades or so, in countries that have made abortion illegal or severely restricted it hasn't really reduced it.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the technological advances that make back alley abortions more accessible. More accessible, not necessarily safer, which is the scary part.
Speaking of studies, there was one that came out just maybe a month or so ago by the Guttmacher Institute, which is like this huge sexology institute that does all kinds of studies.
Sexology makes me laugh.
It's a thing.
It still makes me laugh.
I know. But what they found is that the number of abortions has significantly decreased in the last decade or so. And this study was done before 2010, so the anti-choicers can't claim that it's because of their bullshit laws that they've passed, which we'll get to in a second. But the reason behind it is because people have greater access to birth control. And when you have greater access to birth control, you're less likely to, need an abortion because you don't get unwanted pregnancies.
Well, it's IUDs. That would probably be the number one factor, is if you don't have contraception that you have to take every day, if you have installed contraception...
I like that, installed.
There's no user error in installed contraception.
That's true.
Yeah.
Higher income women have been going with installed contraception for a few years now, in much higher numbers than they had in the past. And that's a huge, huge part of that decrease. But it's not so good among low-income women, because IUDs are like $500, $1,000, and they didn't have that. But now, if they have insurance, that has to be free. Free!
Hell yeah. Thanks, Obama.
I have health insurance.
You can get birth control.
Knows. I can get birth control. Haven't yet, but I can.
Not only that, but you could, almost eliminate your period on top of it, too.
I want that.
Which, for some reason, these people also seem to take issue with. But I'm sure it's the naturalistic fallacy again.
Not bleeding out of my vagina for 6 to 7 days out of the month? I'm fine with that.
You'll take that?
Yes. And I want to thank you, Beth, because I honestly did not know that birth control could do this until a conversation on one of your threads on Facebook. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you're not menstruating when you don't want to.
Oh, well, I am still, because I haven't gone to the doctor yet.
But soon.
But soon.
Hear that, Shark Week?
Soon, and for the rest of my life. I'm no longer misinformed. There is the thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I get bummed out being infertile sometimes, but there are also times where I'm like, man, I'm glad I don't have to fuck with this shit, because Chris and I don't have to use condoms, which is nice, and I don't have to try to remember to take birth control at the same time every day, which is also nice. So I do have other pills that I have to take, which I jokingly refer to as birth control, because they did make me infertile, so...
I like to make it easier on you by telling you about the shit I go through while I'm on my period.
Yeah.
Does that help?
I don't know. Not really, but...
I like to think it does.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I just thought of something, but it's really gross, so I'm not going to say it.
Oh no, we're all about that here. Go for it.
Dory, you will never be sick where you're throwing up, and that causes blood to gush out of your vagina at the same time.
Holy shit, that has happened to me! And it is the grossest thing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh man, did I ever tell you the story of when my manager got mad at me for going into the office when there was no one else in there?
Oh yeah, you told me that story.
Was it on the show?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll tell the story. Alright, so at my old job, which we haven't made that announcement yet, but we should. At my old job, they kept tampons and pads and stuff in the office. And the female manager was too busy to let me in, but she was like, hey, it's unlocked, go ahead and go in there and get it. And I said, okay. So I go in there and I'm looking through the drawer and my male manager comes up. And he's like, what are you doing, dirty nerdy? Because that's what they call me at work.
Yep.
And I said,
I've seen it.
I said, oh, I'm looking for tampons. And he goes, oh, by yourself? You're not supposed to be in the office by yourself. And I just looked at him and I said, manager. That's his name.
Yep.
I said, manager, I am bleeding out of my goddamn vagina. And he just looked at me and said, carry on.
Do you understand what is happening right now?
Do you know what is happening at this moment? It's rolling down my fucking leg. I need this. It worked.
Yep.
I got what I needed. And he never asked questions again.
You know, whenever I need to sneak booze into a place, I just put tampons on top of my little flask, and
oh shit,
nobody
man.
ever looks.
You remember? You remember when we did the tampon cannons?
Yeah. Because people weren't allowed to take tampons into the anti-choice rulings.
State legislature thing.
Yeah.
In Texas. So we made a post about tampon cannons. It's pretty hilarious. Should probably post a link to that.
You gotta look out for those tampons, man. They're dangerous weapons, somehow.
I guess.
Guns are okay, tampons not okay.
Well, they were gonna throw them at legislators. Apparently.
We can't have that. It's not like they were taking away people's rights.
A giant tampon that hit Rick Perry right in the face.
I've always said he has a punch me face. I don't know. When I see him smile, I just want to punch him, and I'm as pacifist as it gets.
He does have that smug look on his face.
So we can talk about anti-choice laws. We want to do that?
Yeah.
Alright, so what were the anti-choice laws?
Oh shit.
That were passed? You've got them.
Admitting privileges. Can I talk about admitting privileges?
Of course
yes, you can.
Okay, this is a law. It's part of the Texas big omnibus law that they passed. And it's part of a lot of states. What it says, generally, is that abortion doctors have to have admitting privileges within so many miles, 30 miles or whatever, of where they're doing the abortions. Now, to the lay person, that sounds, oh, well, yeah, sure, doctors should have admitting privileges to hospitals. What's wrong with that? All right, what is wrong with that? Admitting privileges are contracts between doctors and hospitals to admit a certain number of patients per year, or per month, or per whatever time. It's not a doctor checking service that hospitals do. Yes.
That's what it sounds like. It's like they have a clipboard of all the local doctors and they check them off.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, they will look into a doctor's background, of course. If you're a really, really shitty doctor with lots of malpractice suits, no, you can't get admitting privileges. But you also can't get admitting privileges if you don't admit enough patients.
Yeah.
You also can't get admitting privileges if there's a Catholic hospital and an abortion doctor applies. They just say, nope.
Don't even get me started on Catholic hospitals.
Or any religious hospitals.
Well, any of them. Mostly Catholic.
And what anti-choicers do is they pass an admitting privileges bill, and then if a local hospital does give the privileges out, they protest, take away funding, punish the hospital in whatever way they can, and hospitals don't want to deal with that shit. So they will routinely deny admitting privileges to qualified doctors just because of political reasons.
Well, and not only that, but if you're talking about how many patients that they admit or what have you, depending on the clinic in question, there are doctors who will fly hundreds of miles in order to perform abortions because there's no other doctor willing to do it in the area. So if you have to make special trips just to do, a legally acceptable medical procedure with very low risk, I just want to throw that out there. If you're only able to do that like once a month or something, then people aren't going to give you admitting privileges. Because it's too much risk and not enough payoff for them, for the hospital.
Well, yeah, I mean, admitting privileges, a good abortion doctor shouldn't be admitting, maybe one patient a year to admit. If you're admitting more than that, you are a bad doctor. Yes. And moreover, admitting privileges don't help anybody. No. If you have a complication during your abortion, they call you an ambulance, and you go to the hospital, to the emergency room, and your doctor does not have to go with you. The OBGYNs at the hospital are perfectly capable of fixing any abortion-related complication because they're no different than miscarriage or a D&C complication. They're not. Perforated uterus, hemorrhaging, any of that happens with all other obstetrical emergencies. So it's not like you can't go to the hospital if you have a problem with your abortion. Plus, if you're an abortion patient, you've likely driven 30, 50, or 100 miles to the abortion clinic. So if you start bleeding or having an infection later, you're probably at home. You're probably nowhere near that doctor.
Yeah.
So
and
these bills are just meant to reduce the number of providers and make clinics close. They have no safety value. The American College of OBGYNs says they have no safety value, and legislators pass them anyway.
I just want to point out that admitting privileges also has a lot to do with geography, which may sound weird, but most of the time giving admitting privileges to doctors means that it has to be within a certain area. And a lot of the laws specify that it has to be within a certain area of where the doctor is located, which makes no sense in states like Texas and
which are fucking huge.
Yeah, and other places that have giant, huge rural areas. That's hard to say. Rural. Okay, sorry. Let me get back
to
the point.
How many glasses of wine you have there, nerdy?
A few. Enough. Because there aren't that many hospitals located in jackass knows where,
Bumfuck Texas.
Bumfuck Texas. Exactly. You get what I'm trying to say here, drunk or not, So it's not really fair to expect there to be admitting privileges for a doctor that's operating way out in bumfuck Texas, where there are no hospitals to speak of.
Yeah.
Or not very many, and those that are there are religious and won't accept them anyways.
Well, and what I don't understand is if this is really just about the safety of the patients, then why don't they enforce this on dentists that perform minor surgeries, or any other doctor who has their own private practice who performs, outpatient surgeries? Just saying.
Oh, exactly. This is not related to any sort of similar procedures. This is just straight up abortion legislation, TRAP laws, that's what they're called, TRAP, targeted regulation of abortion providers, not of providers who are doing similar types of surgery. That also comes under the ambulatory surgical centers rule, which is another rule that Texas has just passed, and other states do, where they're demanding that abortions be performed in ambulatory surgical centers, which, again, to the layperson sounds perfectly reasonable. You perform surgery in a surgery center. But that's not what an ASC is. An ASC is almost like a mini hospital. It can do general anesthesia, local anesthesia. It can do hardcore forms of anesthesia that you don't actually need for an abortion procedure. Abortion is a minimally invasive procedure. It's not considered a full-on surgery. It's something that can be done in a doctor's office with local anesthesia perfectly well.
I know a lot of states are trying to pass laws to keep you from getting, basically it's where it's a video performed abortion, where you take the abortifacient pill in front of a video with a doctor on the other end watching you the whole time. These are, of course, early term abortions because they don't work on long term.
Because it's just a pill. It would have to be early term.
But there are states that are trying to prevent this from happening as well, which sounds pretty ridiculous because you're in a doctor's office, but you still have a doctor there on the video.
Okay, this is what they call webcam abortions, which is actually called telemedicine. Webcam abortions just sounds awesome, by the way.
For 35 cents a minute, you can watch my webcam abortion. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, RU486 is the abortion pill, and it's extremely safe. It's meant to be an at-home abortion, like a heavy period. They give you some pain medicine, and you take the pills one day and then a couple the next. And they're really, all you need is to be diagnosed as pregnant. You usually will have an ultrasound to date the pregnancy, make sure it's not ectopic, and a nurse can do that. A nurse and an ultrasound technologist, a nurse practitioner, or a physician's assistant, they can all do that. You absolutely do not even need a doctor. You just need to be asked some questions and then make sure you're pregnant. And you take a pill and you bleed at home. And if you get a fever or something, then you go to the emergency room. That's it. And because there's not doctors there, they do it by webcam so that you can actually talk to the doctor and ask some questions and the doctor watches you take it. But they're putting restrictions on that are completely unnecessary. I mean, this is an extremely safe pill.
Yeah.
And there's no reason you have to see a doctor at all unless you have a complication. So this is just another way to ruin access, is all it is.
Oh man, can we talk about all the bullshit behind Plan B being age restricted, even though
oh dear,
everyone says that they don't need to? Oh well, let's do that. Let's go to commercial first because we're hitting like 40 minutes.
Oh damn.
And then we'll talk about that and other fun things after commercial. Okay.
Love this song.
Feminazi stole my ice cream. I'm laid low by the matriarchy. I'm afraid of women. I'm afraid of myself. I'm afraid. And this makes me angry. Take the red pill like in the Matrix. The Matrix is a good movie. I'm afraid. I'm so afraid. I'm afraid of women. And I'm afraid of myself. But I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. But I'm a nice guy. I feel you, my brothers. I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. Such a nice guy. I feel you, my brothers. Feminazi stole for my ice cream. I'm laid low by all the misandry. I'm afraid of women, and I'm afraid of myself. So afraid, and this makes me so angry. I'm a nice guy. I'm such a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. I'm afraid of women. I'm a nice guy. Oh, a nice guy. Such a nice guy. I'm afraid of women.
Hi everyone, we're Dory.
And the Dirty Nerdy.
From the Secular Shethinkers.
Be free to love.
Be able to choose.
Be accepted, no matter your race, gender, sexual orientation, or belief system.
Be secular. Be Secular merchandise allows you to display your support for equality and the separation of church and state, while also donating up to 50% of the profit from your purchase to nonprofits, groups, and artists that support those same values.
Go to www.besecular.com. Pick your item and then choose who you want to get the donation from your sale.
Be you. Be secular.
Shethinkers is sponsored by Audible.com. To get a free audiobook of your choice, go to audibletrial.com/Shethinkers.
We recommend At the Dark End of the Street, Black Women, Rape, and Resistance, A New History of the Civil Rights Movement from Rosa Parks to the Rise of Black Power by Danielle McGuire.
This is the story of how the violation of black women by white men propped up white supremacy from the 17th century to the Jim Crow era, and how the battle for political and personal autonomy of people of color was interwoven with the fight against sexual violence and rape of black women.
To sign up for a free trial and get a free audiobook of your choice, go to audibletrial.com/Shethinkers. The Lilith Fund helps Texans in exercising their fundamental right to abortion by removing barriers to access.
They provide direct financial assistance and counseling to empower people seeking to terminate an unwanted pregnancy, as well as education and outreach within the community about reproductive rights.
The Lilith Fund trusts women, funds abortion, and advocates for change through the movement for reproductive justice.
Their vision is a Texas where each woman has the means and opportunity to plan her future and her family with dignity, respect, and community support.
To donate your time, money, or services, please go to lilithfund.org. Hey, we're back.
Oh, are we?
I guess. Are you with us, Beth?
Yes.
Yay.
Okay. I was dancing. Our new commercial music makes me want to go clubbing.
Man, our commercial sounds so good now. I'm just gonna say.
I do like it.
Yep. Okay, so
The music is still going.
That's okay. It's quiet.
I like listening to it. Seriously though, Beth has a good idea with this early showtime because we could totally go clubbing later. Except I don't have the clothes for it with me.
You can always borrow mine.
Maybe. We'll see. Alright, what were we talking about before the show? The commercials?
Plan
Hello?
Plan B. We were talking about Plan B.
Oh, Plan B. Yeah,
Okay.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think it's ridiculous that the FDA, which, you know, are generally the people we look to when it comes to medical decisions when involving medication, they said there's no risk of using Plan B at pretty much any age that you can get pregnant. And yet, even freaking Obama and his administration were like, oh, well, maybe we should restrict it anyway for a completely non-medical reason.
I'm still dancing to the music.
It's true.
Yeah, that was a completely political decision, and I'm glad the judge threw that out, and now Plan B can be gotten by anybody, which, by the way, doesn't cause abortions!
Hooray! Although, if you want an abortion, you should, be able to have access to that.
So,
there's no such thing as an abortion within 72 hours of sex.
Oh,
no,
there's
there's
no
not.
pregnancy within 72 hours of sex.
So like
All it does is delay your ovulation.
Back about 3 years ago, when the boy and I were first dating, we had a scare, and so we went to take Plan B. Or, well, he got it for me, and I took it.
I was gonna say, well, I think that's only effective if one of you takes it.
He took it in solidarity. No, but I was still scared because I was late, and I was like still terrified that maybe I was pregnant. So I went to the clinic at my university anyways. And I told him, I was like, all right, well, I took the Plan B stuff the other day, but I'm still late anyways, so I'm scared that I might already be pregnant. And does the Plan B stuff affect my pregnancy? And they were like, no, not at all. So even if you're already pregnant, like, the Plan B doesn't affect it at all.
Yeah.
It won't hurt your pregnancy if you're already pregnant.
It just prevents you from getting pregnant if you aren't already. Because sperm take a while to get up there, man.
Damn lazy
What
bastards.
sperm do is they sit around and they can wait on an egg for 3 to 5 days. Some places say 7, but I think that's probably not correct. So yes, if you're going to ovulate in the next few days, Plan B will stop you from ovulating into those waiting sperm. And it's not going to do anything else. It's not going to mess up your uterus like they say it does, and thin the lining of your uterus so that the embryo can implant. That does not happen from Plan B. It is in the literature, but that's because literature is a cover your ass sort of thing, where they put anything that could conceivably, happen.
I see what you did there.
And, but now they've done more studies, and the only thing it can do is stop you from ovulating, if ovulation was going to happen within a couple days. If you've already ovulated, it can't do shit.
Yeah. Let's not forget that the vagina is like one of the most inhospitable places for sperm, which I think is kind of badass. Like, it's like acidic, and you've got all kinds of shit built into your vagina to try to kill as many sperm as you can.
The pH is 3.5. That is acid.
Yep.
That's horrible. The only thing that
creeping
keeps
misandry
sperm alive is cervical mucus.
Yep.
I just had to say that.
I enjoy that my future vagina is also going to be just as acidic. So even though, Chris's sperm are going to be like, what the fuck, man? I can't find the cervix. What's going on? They're just going to die. I enjoy the thought of killing sperm. It fills me with feminist joy. So let's talk about, we touched on some of the laws. They're all bullshit. What pisses me off is the two-faced way that the anti-choice people, when they're, debating this on the floor or they're in court, they'll claim, oh no, this has nothing to do with restricting access to abortion. And then when they're on their own blogs or, talking about it to get more votes, then they're like, oh no, that's exactly what this is for. You've seen that before, I'm sure, Beth.
Oh yes. I mean, it's pretty damn open. All you gotta do is go to the lie places online, and I think even the governor of Mississippi openly admitted that the admitting privileges law was to shut down the one abortion clinic in Mississippi.
What a bastard.
Because they just don't give a fuck. They really don't. And people, they're getting bolder, and we're getting bolder.
Yeah.
And they're not putting up with this shit anymore.
They're like the honey badgers of anti-choice.
It's true. They don't give a fuck unless they're in court.
And then they give a fuck.
And then all of a sudden, that's not what this is for. Like, to me, it's just the duplicitous nature of them that pisses me off.
Duplicitous.
Oh! There was this doctor in Virginia who wrote a letter to the Attorney General stating that he saw abortion complications every week from these fly-by-night abortionists, and that's why they need admitting privileges. They investigated, and that whole entire hospital did like one abortion complication in the entire year. And he might actually get in trouble with his professional association for straight up lying.
Good. He
should.
deserves to.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's a fuck you to the doctor who's lying.
You can't use your privilege as a doctor to, perpetuate your own political beliefs. I'm sorry. Except I'm not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. You're a jackass.
Yeah. So, let's talk about some of the terrible tactics of the anti-choice movement. The first one we have on our list is the fake reproduction clinics, also known as crisis pregnancy centers.
So this one time, I was on Facebook and there was this ad on the sidebar that was like, "Are you pregnant? Click here to learn more." And so I clicked it, just out of fun. And it was for a crisis pregnancy center, and every single page was trying to convince me not to have an abortion. And it was funny because I'm not pregnant. But yeah,
don't you know that abortions make baby Jesus cry?
I had no idea.
My idea that I was going to do was, when I got pregnant, which then I found out that I probably won't be able to get pregnant, but my idea was when I got pregnant, I was going to go to a CPC and record everything and then put it out there like, some people have done investigations like that. So, yeah, I really want to do that. But,
oh man, Beth, you and I should just pretend to be pregnant and go to a CPC. They're lying too, so... Huh?
They make you take a test. They give out free pregnancy tests, which are just the same ones you can buy at the drugstore.
Yeah.
And
so they're preying on people's lower SES.
You're not gonna get the full experience unless you go pregnant, or maybe have a friend pee in a cup or something.
There we go. All right, Dirty Nerdy. You know what your job is now.
All right.
You need to help Beth and I pretend to be pregnant.
You guys don't need to pretend to be pregnant. I will go to the CPC and cry and tell them that I'm an unwed teen. Even though I'm close to 30.
And soon to be married?
Hell, I still get carded at the movie theater, so,
I do too, that shit pisses me off.
They card me and not my fiance who I'm older than?
Truth.
And they never card dudes.
What?
They never card dudes.
It's true. Well, not only do they not card him, but one time, the last time this happened, they actually looked at him and then looked at me and said, "Oh, are you with him? You're good then." And I'm like, "What? Is he my guardian? What the fuck? I'm older than he is. No, you will look at my ID." I was pissed.
Damn it.
I used to go out with older guys when I was underage, and we'd order fancy wine, and I wouldn't get carded.
You bastard.
I've never dated anyone older than me.
God damn it.
That was awesome. You should.
It's not that I've intentionally not done it before. Like, I'm just like, hey, I'm into you, and then I find out after the fact that they're younger than me.
I apparently cannot drink wine. It falls in my lap.
Apparently. Do you have a drinking problem, Dirty Nerdy?
I have a problem getting the drink in my mouth, yes.
I can see that. So yeah, Beth, what are some lies that CPCs like to tell confused pregnant teenagers?
Well, it's not even teenagers, because most women that are having unplanned pregnancies are in their 20s. And most women that are having abortions, 61%, already have kids. So, just things to get out there.
What a concept.
I already have a kid and know how much money this is going to cost. Therefore, I don't want this other kid.
Exactly. They tell women that abortion causes breast cancer, which it doesn't, or at least, most of the doctors don't think it does. There have been some studies that have found a link and other studies that haven't, and there's good reasons to believe the studies that don't because of something called recall bias, which is basically that women who have breast cancer are looking for something to blame it on, so they're more honest, versus women that have had abortions and that don't have breast cancer have basically no reason not to lie because of stigma.
Well, yeah, I mean, reported, it's like 1 in 3 women will admit to having an abortion, right? It's probably higher than that, but...
Well, no, I think the 1 in 3 is based on good records. It's not about stigma.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure the 1 in 3 figure is not 100% true either.
It's probably higher if it's anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the 1 in 3. But yeah, recall bias is a big problem with the studies. Studies that were look at medical records in like European countries that don't have as much stigma and all don't tend to find a link. That's one.
Yeah, that seems to explain it then. I mean, self-reported studies are always unreliable to begin with because you can't rely on people to actually report accurately. So, speaking of someone who does studies...
I was going to say, you're the psychology person here, so you would know.
The more you have to rely on people to actually be honest, the less reliable your study is, because people lie all the fucking time for any kind of reason. So, unless you've got hard data or observable behavior or something like that, it's pretty easy to misconstrue what you find, unfortunately. I mean, you've still got something to work on, but it's still skewed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's not like abortion causing breast cancer is a ridiculous idea, because the more pregnancies you have and the earlier you have them, the lower your risk of breast cancer. So it would tend to make sense that if you're having an abortion that you might be raising your risk because of the hormones involved, but it doesn't seem to actually have an effect other than you're going to have fewer pregnancies than you otherwise would have.
Yeah. I know breast cancer used to be called nun's disease because of the increased risk of if you don't have children, then you have an increased risk of having breast cancer.
God damn it.
Yay, I've got another risk factor for getting breast cancer. Cheers.
Just stop having breasts. That works, right?
No, man, I like these.
Me too. Talking about Dories.
Yeah.
Because they're all out right now.
They're pretty nice.
It's hot up here.
It is hot up here.
What do you expect us to do? What were we talking about? All I heard was breasts.
Boobies.
Boobies.
If we're talking about health risks of abortion, let's be real here. What are the health risks of pregnancy?
Oh god, they're like worse than health risks of abortion.
I know.
At least 14 times higher risk of death, for one thing.
Yeah.
I mean...
it's pretty unlikely for an abortion to rip your vagina to your asshole, too. Let's be real.
Pretty unlikely. Usually doesn't happen.
Yeah, definitely pregnancy is much, much riskier than abortion. That's just the bottom line. And I don't even understand anti-choicers who can't admit that, because you can say that it's morally wrong without making up a bunch of shit about how dangerous it is.
That's what pisses me off the most about the anti-choicers, is not only do they have a dubious moral stance, but then they, like, lie through their fucking teeth all the time.
There was a woman I used to work with, because I have a new job now.
Yay!
Who used to always say, well, you know, pregnancy isn't a disease. And
no, it's a parasite. That's what it is.
It used to really fucking annoy me, because I'm like, it doesn't have to be a disease to affect your body in profound ways. And she used to be like, oh, well, I never had problems with my pregnancies. I'm like, that's great. And I'm glad you didn't have problems, but other women do, so stop fucking judging them.
You don't speak for all women.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, pregnancy is not a disease, fertility is not a disease. Okay, whatever, it can fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Guns aren't a disease, but they can kill you.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh, but we can't regulate those. Only women's bodies.
I don't want to get into this debate. But really, I can't stand the whole pregnancy isn't a disease, therefore you shouldn't need accommodations and you shouldn't be able to complain about it. It's like, something doesn't need to be a disease for me to be like, hey, this is affecting my body in a negative way.
Well, I mean, pregnancy affects your body in pretty much every imaginable way.
Exactly. the pregnant body has to specifically create hormones in order to keep the fetus from growing too large in order to sustain the host.
Yep.
Like, not even kidding. This happens. But yeah, it is a disease.
Or at least, it's a parasite, right? Some people really like their parasites, but some people don't.
Sorry, Beth, you were trying to say something.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I usually say it's parasitic because instead of it is a parasite, because people will come on there and be like, well, it's the same species. So fucking what? It's still a parasitic relationship.
It is.
So CPCs also will say that there's something called post-abortion syndrome, which is either a type of depression or a type of PTSD related to abortion. And there's no such thing. There are women that feel like shit after their abortions, you know, because they were coerced into them, or because they had a lot of other stuff going on, or, you know, even depression from hormones can play a role. But there's no specific thing related to abortion that it just doesn't happen. And first of all, there's postpartum depression too. So that's bullshit.
So much for that argument.
I'm already diagnosed with major depressive disorder, which is a huge indicator for postpartum depression. So if they want to talk about disorders that are connected to bodily activities, then that's one thing that they usually avoid is postpartum depression. It happens.
The APA doesn't recognize post-abortion depression.
They do not.
We don't recognize that bullshit.
Of the studies,
we do recognize postpartum depression, though.
Of the studies I've seen of it, it tends to be like if you were already depressed before your abortion, then you're probably going to be depressed afterwards, which is to be expected.
Yeah.
But if you don't already suffer from depression before the abortion, then you're no more likely to suffer from it afterward, which is different from postpartum.
Yeah.
Because that can happen. So, we talk about,
well, Beth, you brought up reproductive coercion and abuse.
Yes, that is a thing.
Yeah.
Reproductive coercion is a form of domestic violence in, basically when any of your reproductive rights are messed with, some guys will poke holes in condoms or not pull out, take the condom off, and will attempt to impregnate their partner. And there have been a few cases of men who had a pregnant partner and put RU-486, the abortion pill, into her food and caused her to miscarry. And either way, it's a non-consensual act. Either way, it's an assault.
Which, for people like us on the pro-choice side, is not a difficult distinction to make, because if you're not making a conscious decision, then it's immoral, period. Whereas the anti-choicers seem to have a hard time understanding why one of these things is immoral and the other one isn't, which is what they try to argue, right?
Yeah.
Right, 'cause they don't understand what consent is. They really don't give a shit about it.
I've seen you post about Lie News. There was a recent article about a woman whose boyfriend basically forced her to have an abortion, and they were like, why is this so bad? And your whole thing was, oh, well, do you not understand consent?
Really, because they don't. They just, as women, as women who can get pregnant, you live in a constant state of consent to pregnancy.
That's what they believe.
That's what they believe, especially if they don't believe in rape exceptions, because then you are born in your body. You have consented to pregnancy. That's what you're for. How can you refuse it? You have a responsibility when you are born. You are born with this responsibility to reproduce, and that's what they really believe.
Because we're just fucking cattle. That's all that women are supposed to be, right?
Pretty much.
Speaking of cattle, can we tell pro-life infertile activists to just shut the fuck up? Like, no, just because you can't have babies doesn't mean that I should be forced to.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Oh, the how dare you not give your child up for adoption because I can't. First of all, okay, I'm gonna go on a little mini rant here because I'm infertile and I want to adopt, and I still don't give a fuck if other women have abortions, because there are a shit ton of kids in the adoption pool right now that aren't being adopted. We don't need more kids in the adoption pool.
Exactly.
We just don't. There's already a shit ton of kids that aren't getting adopted. We don't need even more in the adoption, pool.
Well, I would say that those pools probably don't overlap, because there are different pools for foster kids versus, a healthy infant.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one just a mile long for a healthy infant. That doesn't really take away from the foster pool, because those people aren't going to adopt foster kids anyway. So, but yeah, nobody should be I'm not entitled to the fruit of another woman's loins just because I can't bear.
No, and it's totally fucking entitled to even make that argument. And I just don't understand that at all. Like, my infertility has nothing to do with Dirty Nerdy's fertility, or we're assuming at this point, right? But
remember that time I said, hey, when one of us gets pregnant, we should have a show about it? And then I quickly remembered that only one of us can get pregnant.
Yep.
That we know of. That was funny.
Yeah. Well, trust me, if I get pregnant, we'll have a fucking show about it. Because I'll be giving birth to the Antichrist.
There will be all the shows about it.
There will be all the shows. Perfect.
The funniest part about that story is right after Dirty Nerdy said that, she's like, hey, Dory, when one of us gets pregnant, we should have a show about pregnancy. And without skipping a beat, Chris yells from the other room, we can't afford a uterine transplant, goddammit.
It was perfect.
Do you know how expensive those are?
None of them has worked yet.
No.
Oh, that was perfect. So I guess we can safely segue into safe sex reduces abortion. You like my alliterations there?
Yeah.
It's hard to do that when I'm drunk.
We can do that, or the buffer zones.
Or we can talk about buffer zones.
Which one do you want to talk about, Beth?
I guess we should talk about buffer zones a little bit, because I am hardcore free speech activist, but, we're talking 35-foot buffer zone. It doesn't impede anybody's free speech.
It really doesn't.
I mean, the women can still see you. You can still see them. You are just barred from barring the actual clinic entrance and shoving your shit in people's faces. You have to be across the street. Oh my god.
Well, what I don't understand is we have...
She can walk across the fucking street to take your little pamphlet of fetuses.
What I don't understand is we have buffer zones for other forms of free speech already, and those are not being contested right now. Like, I remember when I was... God, how young was I when the Iraq War started? And I went to a protest about that, and there was a specific area that we were allowed to protest, and we weren't allowed to leave that specific area. So, that works the same way that a buffer zone does. And that's generally the case for any form of protest. There's a designated area that you're allowed to protest in. Arrested Development jokingly calls it the free speech zone, right?
And it has a barbed wire cage around it.
But
yeah, I'm not sure I'm for all those zones, but for at least abortion clinics, we know that people get right up to the door and literally bar entrance, bar other people from, expressing their rights. So I don't think there's any problem with you have to be away from the door. You have to be across the street. You have to not be in people's face. There's no problem with that in free speech. There just isn't.
Yeah,
okay, a 500-foot buffer zone, we can talk about your free speech. A 35-foot buffer zone, we can't.
Well, take the Occupy Wall Street protests, for example. They were arrested because they were barring entrances into buildings. It's exactly the same thing. And nobody was up in arms about that. But all of a sudden, when we're talking about abortion, OMG, free speech,
Free speech is...
They lie about the sidewalk counselors. You know who their defendant is in that case? It's like an 80-year-old grandmother.
What?
Yeah, because she's so non-threatening. She just wants to give you a pamphlet so you won't kill your baby. She's not going to hurt you. When if you actually go to the clinics, yeah, there's 80-year-old grandmothers, but there's also 30 and 40 and 50-year-old tall, big men right in front of the door screaming in your face, too.
Well, and that shit can be triggering, man.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Fun story. I'm triggered by yelling men, and of course I'm with a loud-ass male person.
It's true. All true.
It does come up occasionally in our relationship, but, I mean, like, I wouldn't be able to handle some big burly dude shouting at me if I was on my way to an already potentially emotional, experience. Like, I would just probably punch him in the face.
I just want to know, why do you need to be closer to protest it? Everyone knows what you're protesting.
Yeah.
35 feet away across the street, everyone knows that your giant fetus sign is protesting that abortion clinic that's across the street. Unless you're actually planning on trying to impede the movement of people going in and out of the clinic, you don't need to be closer.
Which you're not allowed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really the only reason why buffer zones exist, is because these fuckers can't be held responsible to not impede people's movement into the building.
Oh my god, I read a book. I can't remember the name of it right now. I think it was A Common Secret. And it was about a woman an abortion doctor, who got protested. And she had protesters lining her street. She had protesters standing in front of her house, and they would not move to let her car out. She had to walk. She had to walk in the dark of night a mile down the road away from the protesters to get into a friend's car who drove her to the airport, where she flew into abortion clinics in like North Dakota, South Dakota, places like that.
Jesus Christ.
But they would let the cars come in to the house, but they would not let the cars leave.
That's harassment.
Yeah.
She lived in like bumfuck. She lived in like bumfuck, North Dakota, that had like 2 cops, and they couldn't do anything until they called other cops in to actually get these people out. So she lived with this for like weeks.
That is ridiculous.
Oh, can we make fun of the, 30 days of prayer or whatever that the anti-choice people
40
do?
40 days of, 40 days of harassing people is what I call it.
I live in Arlington, in Texas, and I have seen this 40 days of prayer bullshit. And when I drive down Park Road, there's a giant church on Park Row. I'm pretty sure Park Row. I'm pretty sure that they're connected to this church. But, they have these, like, this tape over their mouths and a giant X, and I'm like, hell yeah, you're silent, shut the fuck up. But it's every year around the same time they show up with all these signs, and there's not an abortion clinic in Arlington. There's just not. There's a Planned Parenthood somewhere, but they don't do abortions.
40 days for life.
Yeah, 40 days for life.
That's what it is.
That's what it's called.
Whatever silly ass name they have
Do it
for it.
twice a year, and I think it's coming up. I think they do it in like, I don't know, March and October or something like that.
Are those like hot months for abortions or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I really, really want to troll them, but I just don't know how. So if you're interested in giving me suggestions...
I actually have one that our friend Daniel suggested.
What is it?
Daniel Moran, who's running for office, by the way. You should vote for him.
Go, Daniel.
He shared a story with us not that long ago of there were these fuckers that were protesting outside of a high school. Like, there's no abortion clinic in the high school. Why the hell are you protesting there?
Oh, was it in Burleson?
It was in Texas somewhere.
Because I have a friend who lives in Burleson, and they said there were people protesting abortion outside the high school. And they were really annoyed.
This must be some new tactic that they have now.
I don't know.
But what 2 high school students did, I almost considered making these kids the boss of the week. What they did, because, like, the anti-choicers had these, like, graphic, inaccurate posters that they always do. And what these 2 high schoolers did was they printed posters full of, like, happy kitties and puppies, and they held them in front of the anti-choice protesters with things that said, like, Please ignore gross protesters and have a nice day, and little things like that.
I want to get pictures of, like, graphic births.
Yeah.
And post that and be like, this is gross, so you should be against it. Even though...
See what a ridiculous fallacy this is?
Yeah, exactly. See this...
So, it's March 5th through April 13th is the next 40 days for life.
Oh, man.
Well, damn.
We need to schedule a topless protest.
I'm gonna be in training that whole time. Can we do it on Sundays?
Of course we can. We don't go to church.
Do you want to know the Texas locations? Because I'm on their damn site.
Oh,
Do
sweet.
it. Do it.
So, Austin, because of course we got abortion in Austin.
We have it in Dallas, too.
El Paso, Houston, McAllen, McKinney, Montgomery County, and Waco. What? They're not protest. There's like a bunch of abortion clinics in like Dallas, Fort Worth.
How do we not have protests going on in Dallas, damn it?
Because they know about me and they're scared of me.
Apparently
Must
so.
be it.
Well, Dirty Nerdy, it sounds like we're going to have to go to Austin to protest.
Can we do it in a day?
Plus...
At like Whole Women's Health and Austin Women's Health. Not the Planned Parenthood, because I think they had to stop doing abortions because they couldn't get fucking admitting privileges.
God damn it.
I
Fucking
live like
admitting
close to that
privileges.
abortion clinic, which was specially designed so that the protesters don't have any place to stand.
I
love that.
love Planned Parenthood so much.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Like, I've had one bad experience at a Planned Parenthood, but I still fucking love Planned Parenthood.
So we will have to have a protest day in Austin soon. Expect us on your couch.
Yep. No, Beth and Matt have a bed, man.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We got a bed.
That's right.
Oh, and by the way, the 40 days for life thing, when I lived in Tennessee, I didn't know that there was an abortion clinic within like 15 minutes of the college. And I heard about 40 Days for Life, and I went on their site, and I found out about that abortion clinic.
Hey,
Nobody knew about it until they protested it, and then I told the people, "Hey, there's an abortion clinic over there. Y'all should go."
You should go have some abortions over
hey,
here.
Dirty Nerdy. If we protest the abortion people in Austin, we can do it topless because we're allowed to be topless in Austin.
Oh my God, y'all gotta call me. I need to show my boobies.
All right. And I need to see your boobies. Let's do this. I mean,
we'll all see each other's boobies. It'll be great.
I need to show my boobies too. Something less harassing.
Only
My
if you
boobies are
consent to
pierced,
this.
just so you know.
Wait, your boobies are pierced? Now
Yeah, my nipples are pierced.
I didn't know that. Now I really need to see them.
Right?
You can see my tattoo that's healed and is no longer going to bleed all over your bed.
It bled all over the bed?
You don't remember that? Never mind. Shh, no one say anything.
So we made a mess of your bed.
We did.
What? I don't even remember this.
It wasn't blood on your bed. It was just some ink. That's it. And I think it was just on the pillow, not the bed.
Okay.
I swear I won't get a tattoo this time.
No, I will. I've got to get my queer tattoo. I've already got it picked out.
Alright, so I think it's about time to move on to like stupid sexist song or something.
Oh wait, well we gotta touch on safe sex first.
Oh yeah, do it. Safe sex is good.
Safe sex is great sex. Which, if you're genuinely against abortion and not controlling women's rights, then you should be the one first in line to be advocating for real safe sex education in Texas.
Yeah, I had this really long discussion with a guy at the Reason Rally. He was this Catholic guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was all anti-abortion. And the further we got into the discussion, the more he was just agreeing with me. And I was like, wait, so you're for implementing full safe sex education? He was like, yeah. And I was like, and you're not for making abortion illegal? He was like, no. And I was like, then I have no qualm with you.
Then
I don't
he's
care.
pro-choice.
I was like, you're pro-choice. You're as pro-choice as they come.
I don't care. I don't care if you don't like it. You don't have to like it.
Exactly.
But if you don't want to make it illegal, then stop talking to me because I don't want to waste my time with you.
Exactly. And he was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Okay, I'll stop talking to you then.
I think that's the majority of people who claim to be pro-life are people who are personally against abortion but don't want to advocate to make it illegal. I really think that skews the numbers quite a bit.
My sister's the same way. One of them.
Yeah, because most people that I talk to who claim to be pro-life, after like 10 minutes of conversation, they come to the realization that they're actually not, anti-choice. They're just personally against abortion. And I'm like, oh, well, then don't get one. I'm not telling you that you can't. Problem solved on your end. So yeah, safe sex is great sex.
Yes, and safe sex education and practicing safe sex actually does reduce the amount of abortions.
By a lot.
Yeah, by a lot. So if you're talking to someone who's all pro-life, but they're not for safe sex education, then they're bullshit.
They're not really, they're just anti-choice.
Yeah,
That's
they're
really
full
all
of
it
shit.
is.
Alright, what was our next segment? I don't remember.
Okay, so now that we're done talking about abortion, we're gonna talk about, vaccines in our next segment. Do you even science, bro? So, there's this hilarious meme that's been running around for a while, I think, but I don't know. It's in the blogosphere again, so we just wanted to read it more than anything. Because, I feel like this is the best way to sum up why anti-vaccine people are full of shit. I don't think I can top this. Do you want to read this?
I guess so. So there's the original meme that was going around was anti-vaccine, and it basically listed some of the ingredients to vaccines, and said, if you did, mix all this stuff and then injected it into your child, you would be arrested and sent to jail for child endangerment. Then why is it legal for your doctor to do it? So then a doctor responded. It said, if you mix mercury, aluminum phosphate, ammonium sulfate, formaldehyde, and viruses, and injected it into someone, you'd kill someone because you have no pharmacological experience.
If someone in a lab mixed those together, they know how they work. They have medically assessed and peer-reviewed evidence and strict guidelines to follow to create a safe and effective product. Why is it legal? Because they know what they're doing, and they know how to spell phosphate and ammonium.
Why don't you educate yourself instead of subscribing to the notion that all scientists are evil and want to poison you and your natural vegan lifestyle? Basically, an immunologist responded and broke it down.
Oh yeah, let's go through this.
Oh man.
So he goes through the scary sounding parts of vaccines and explains one by one what all of them are for. Mercury is an element in the compound thimerosal, which is part of many vaccines. It has been claimed with no tangible evidence other than a multifaceted correlation that thimerosols cause autism. This has been investigated thoroughly and no causal link has been found.
Aluminium phosphate is an aluminium salt which is used as an adjuvant in vaccines. I can't say that word, but I'm drunk. I'm sorry.
Too much wine.
An adjuvant is a compound which causes an immune response to be higher and stronger, so that the immune system comes into contact with the attenuated virus more, so that it can recognize the antigens in the virus and provide immunity. They are a necessary part of the vaccine if you want it to work.
Ammonium sulfate is used in the process of curing the proteins in the synthesis of a vaccine. It is also found in bread and flour, so you'd better learn to enjoy rice if you want to avoid it.
Formaldehyde is used in the treatment and purification of vaccines and stops contamination. Most of this is removed before the vaccine is shipped, although some remains. Basically, the immunologist goes on to explain that basically, if you want your kids to live, then you should vaccinate them.
Boom. I'm sorry, if you don't immunize your kids, I just don't think you should have,
kids. We decided to do this because I was wondering earlier this week how to politely ask my in-laws whether or not they vaccinated their children. And if they haven't, how to say politely, well, then your kids can't hang out with mine for a while. Turns out there's no polite way of saying that.
Other than just being like, look, dude. I don't want my kid to get fucking whooping cough, so...
Exactly. That's what I'm terrified of. My infant getting whooping cough because you can't get your kid vaccinated.
Because you did some poor Googling and came up with shitty results. Do you even science, bro?
Basically. That's our short anti-vaccination rant thingy.
Yep.
Or rant against anti-vaccination.
I mean, eventually we'll have a whole show on why anti-vaxxers are bullshit, I'm sure.
Eventually, but I really want to get into the stupid sexist song.
Okay. Beth, I think you're really gonna like the stupid sexist song this week.
I think you are.
Because we specifically went to Lie Action News, and they have an article about anti-choice songs. So,
great.
So we have what we thought was probably the worst one out of the list. Let's just jump into it because it's so terrible. Ready?
Okay, go ahead.
So emotional. Very piano.
Such a cry.
Was my best friend. Went away one summer, came back with a secret she just couldn't keep. The child inside her was just too much for her, so she cried herself to sleep.
Sounds pretty terrible to me.
Alright, you're crying yourself to sleep because you're pregnant probably means you shouldn't continue that pregnancy. Yeah. I'm not saying you should make your decision entirely on that judgment, but it correlates.
And she made a decision.
Do you hear that, anti-choicers? She made a fucking decision.
Keyword decision.
That's how it works, goddammit.
She made a choice.
Some find hard to accept.
Like the anti-choicers.
Too young to know that one day she might live to regret.
If she's...
But that's not too young to have the baby.
Beth,
never regret that.
You read my fucking mind. She's too young to have an abortion, but she's not too young to raise a child. Of course. This makes sense.
Didn't a fucking judge make this decision not that long ago?
I'm pretty sure they did.
How did, an abortion is a decision that only lasts for, I don't know, a few days, weeks.
I totally spilled wine again.
Whereas pregnancy lasts for 18, 19 fucking years at the minimum. So.
Minimum.
Yeah, I don't get it.
But I would die for that.
You would die. You would die for that, you
She
asshole.
would not.
The other person decided they wouldn't die for that, so accept their decision and fuck off.
Yep. Done.
Just to have one chance to hold in my hands all that she had, I would die for that.
On behalf of all infertile women, I apologize for this song.
We paused it a little early. There you go. The lyric is, so why do I feel incomplete? Because of sexist bullshit that tells you you're not a real woman until you've given birth. So you should be saying, fuck that sexist bullshit. I'm a real woman, and I'm gonna be a real woman whether or not I give birth. So let's just fucking adopt.
Yep.
Ugh. Okay.
Shit, you can even breastfeed, man. I've looked into it.
Alright.
I'm gonna whip my tits out in public when I have children.
Just because you can.
Yep.
With every test and checkup, we're told not to give up. He wonders if it's him, and I wonder if it's me.
How does this have anything to do with the friend at the beginning who had an abortion? Like, really? What is...
What with it? oh my god, I just want to scream. I have gone to the doctor. I have had these tests. I can't even. I want to punch her in the face.
You heard it here first on the Shethinkers.
Dirty, you must conceive for me.
All right, I'll conceive for you.
You have to be a broodmare because I can't give birth.
I know, I am not a broodmare just because Beth and Dory can't give birth. Fuck you guys. Sorry, but fuck you guys, I'm not giving birth for you. The only reason I'd ever give birth is for myself, maybe.
It's a good reason we're not making that demand of you, right?
Yeah,
what kind of shitty friend would that be?
Exactly. You guys are great friends for not demanding that I give birth for you. Thank you.
Then adopt, man. It's like... Ugh.
Like everyone else I see.
Fuck norms.
And I won't understand it if it's not meant to be. 'Cause I would die for that.
Yeah, she keeps saying I would die for that. Well, that's your choice. Not every woman would die for a pregnancy.
Nope.
Seriously.
Shit, I'm infertile and I wouldn't die for a pregnancy. Fuck that noise.
I just can't what would be the point of you dying for a pregnancy? I mean, would the fetus survive?
So you can leave your partner with a fucking child to raise on their own?
Yes. I don't know.
Fuck you, I'm done. Here you go. I'm gonna do that to Chris now.
Okay.
So emotional.
Such sad.
Much abort. Harry fetus.
Okay, pause. Pregnancy isn't a fucking dream. I know that you haven't been pregnant, but you know what? I'm gonna say something I've never said on the show and that I've told very few people, but I have actually been pregnant before. I didn't know. I had no fucking idea I was pregnant. And then I started bleeding terribly out of my vagina. And I went to the hospital and turns out I wasn't pregnant anymore. Believe me, it's not a fucking dream. Okay, that is not a dream. And even though you haven't experienced it or possibly can't, you know, I just want to let you know it's not perfect. And it's not wonderful. And it wasn't a happy experience for me. So stop fucking saying you would die for that because I could have. So fuck you. Alright, sorry. I just had to get that off my chest.
This fucking song, man.
I know. I hate it.
I know we say this every week, but I think this might be my least favorite song.
I hardly doubt she would actually die for that, though. Pun! I just want to point it out. Adoption exists.
Yep. Just saying.
Just, you know, it's out there. And as far as I know, I'm not infertile. And I'm still considering adoption for my second child because of that phobia I mentioned earlier.
Well, and I just want to point out, like, I get being bummed out about being infertile because I experience that sometimes, and that sucks. But that doesn't mean you need to conflate it with, therefore, abortion is always evil and wrong.
Yeah, it just doesn't have anything to do with anybody else.
It really doesn't.
Doesn't have to do with their fucking uterus or sperm, whatever. Yeah.
I mean, I've known from very early age that I can't give birth to children, and that still hasn't caused me to be anti-choice in any way, shape, or form. I've just known from a really early age where I'm like, well, fuck it, guess I'm gonna adopt. It's not the end of the world. Pregnancy is not what makes a woman a woman. I don't know, like, it's just weird. I don't get this.
I think most of it just repeats itself from now.
Is it?
But it's in a whispery voice, so it's more emotional.
Super emotional. We can keep making fun of her for the last minute, right?
Such sad. I feel bad making fun of someone who, I mean, it is an emotional thing, finding out you're infertile.
I don't feel bad making fun of her if she's gonna shit all over her fertile friends in the course of it.
I don't feel bad.
Like, seriously, I don't give any of my fertile friends or pregnant friends or friends with biological children or whatever, I don't give them any shit about the fact that I'm infertile. Like, my infertility has nothing to do with their fucking life.
Oh, I love how we kind of talked over, but she said, how would I love what some give up? I'm like, fuck you! You don't know what they've given up. Maybe they've given up a life of fucking debt.
Yeah.
Maybe they've given up, all the medical complications that come with it. Or the fact that maybe they have medical complications that could cause them or their fetus to die. You don't know what they've given up, so fuck you. Don't tell me that you would die for that when it's not a situation you would ever be in.
Well, and it's easy to be noble and think that you know what your decision's going to be when you're not actually in that decision.
Oh man, when I was like 13, I remember I was watching Baywatch. I know it was Baywatch. I remember it being Baywatch. There was a storyline about one of the lifeguards, I think. I don't know. And his wife was having a baby, and it was basically it was a big dramatic decision where it was either her life or the baby's, and she had said to pick the babies if it came down to that. So she had the baby instead, and I remember when I was 13, I was like, yeah, that was the right decision. And now I look back, I'm like, holy shit, I was fucked up. Why would that be the right decision, to leave that child motherless and him, without anyone to help him raising this child, when they could have chosen the mother's life and then had another child later. I'm like, I understand some people make that decision and it might be right for them, but why is that? It was portrayed as the overall correct decision to make. And at the time, I thought it would have been selfish for the mom to choose her own life, which is just bullshit. It's not selfish to choose your own life.
No, that's self-preservation, man.
That's like an important psychological thing that you should have.
So, at the youth center, we have a Christmas tradition where we watch Steel Magnolias, because it's a movie about women who act like drag queens.
Oh, I love that movie, but I've never thought of it as a movie where women act like drag queens. Please explain.
Plus, the two older ladies are like clearly lesbian for each other, right, Beth? You know what I'm talking about.
Lesbian.
But it's hilarious because when you're watching that movie in a room full of queer people, and she's like, I'm willing to sacrifice my life in order to have children. All of these people are, either de facto infertile or actually infertile, one way or the other. And they're all like, well, you're just a fucking dumbass then, aren't you? Like, it's supposed to be this really emotional movie where you're supposed to be like, oh, that was such a noble thing for her to do, to sacrifice her life in order to have a child.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
But when you watch it in front of a bunch of people who can't have biological children with their chosen partners, they're just like, fuck that shit, man, just adopt. Get it over with. Way to leave your husband alone with a 3-year-old child for the rest of his life. Like, I just don't get it. The whole sacrificing your life to have a child thing just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who, occasionally wishes I could get pregnant. I'm kind of glad that I can't in the grand scheme of things. I'm just going to be real. But every now and then I'm like, man, it would be nice to get pregnant. And then reality comes back.
And then you remember what pregnancy entails, and you're like, oh, fuck that shit. That stuff's gross.
Well, final thoughts, Beth?
I'm drunk. That's my final thought.
Me too.
So we finished this,
How big is this bottle of wine?
A pretty big bottle. 1930, no, that's the year. 1.5 liters.
Yeah!
Woo!
Go team!
Go team, go! We stuck it out and won in the end.
Yep.
So we're drunk too, is the point we were trying to make throughout this whole podcast.
All right, so final thoughts are we're all drunk.
If you get nothing else from this show, just know we were drunk.
And we love abortion.
The end.
Yep.
And Girl Scouts.
And Girl Scouts.
Woo! Lesbian abortions.
Lesbian abortions.
And Thin Mints.
Abortions.
Yep.
And Samoas. I'll throw that out there for Beth.
Yep.
You know, even though I hate coconut.
That's all the time we have. Join us next week when we talk about street harassment.
Yay!
Hey.
Oh, that sucks. Wait,
Yeah.
why am I sharing that?
Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on our blog at secularshethinkers.wordpress.com. And now, in the interest of being fair and unbiased, here is tonight's counter-argument.
This is my favorite part.
What's been called the abortion distortion. We have a society of death, and those on the left claim to be liberals, but they want death. They want to kill off old people or facilitate the euthanasia of old people. They want to do away with unborn children. They seem to, and they get passionate about the whole thing. I mean, they're wild. I mean, literally wild in demonstrations.
You, cake or death? Death, please. No, cake, sorry. You said death first. Death first. No, I meant cake. Oh, all right.
Lift me up, let me go all silvery. Planet smooth while you're lying next to me. Like the sun high above, you're the whip and the glove. Miss me sweetly, I had you find me. See my toy store, never know what I'm looking for. Right on top of every wave the ocean makes. Take me out, mountain shiver under me. Rhythm on, running river over my feet. Like a world holding me, you're the clouds and the trees. Miss me sweetly, I had you find me. See my toy store, never know what I'm looking for. Right on top of every wave the ocean makes. And I read it in a storybook that a telltale heart is well understood. And you couldn't do a thing for me. I'm much past help you soon. sakes.
Oh shit, are we doing a cat? What the fuck is it? An Easter egg?
Are we? I don't think so. Is Beth even still on? Beth, hello? I don't think
Hey.
she is. Hey, oh my god, she is!
Easter egg?
Usually we discuss it during the outro, but our mics weren't muted, so we couldn't. So instead we chatted on Facebook and fucked around a lot.
Yep.
So, this is our Easter egg! Hey guys!
Much fun. Very wine.
So drunk.
Much
Drunky
abortion.
lesbian.
What?
I just said drunky lesbian.
Yeah, that's like every night for me, though.
Indeed.
I do want to say that Dory and I are both half naked.
Yep.
So, there's that.
Although different halves, so it makes up for it.
It is different halves. Why couldn't she be the other kind of mermaid? With the fish part on the top and the lady part on the bottom.
That seems as good an ending as I can think of.
Okay.